So welcome to today's MindPrime Podcast. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that we all have, music, but not in the entertainment way. We're going to be talking about how it can transform you. And today's guest has over 30 years of experience in singing, in workshops, in working with businesses like NatWest. And she's also the director of Shared Harmonies, where she gives back to the local community and a TEDx speaker. So welcome to the show, Emma.
Hi, Louise. It's so lovely to be here.
Oh, it's lovely to have you. So before we get into like what you do and how you do it, I wanted to talk to you about something because for me, music, I could not live without music. Um, Even if the internet went down, the phone line, everything went down. If the music died, I think I would die, to be fair. Because I feel like it really regulates my system. I get in a state like this.
Mm.
And I'm just thinking that maybe it's like the same for you and what you do. But it's really interesting how people are so connected to states and regulating, but then they've stopped singing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. So singing and music have always been a big part of my life from childhood. So my whole family are really into music and singing. And so some of my earliest childhood memories are of my mum kind of singing as she was like cleaning around the house, or
Yeah,
we'd always have the chart show on, every weekend.
top
We'd
of the pops.
always have Top of the Pops,
Yeah.
always. Um, in fact, we got our first video recorder sometime in the like early 80s, and the only thing we ever recorded was Top of the Pops. We had video after video cassette of
Yeah.
like
You have to
recording Top of
stop it
the
at the right
Pops.
time to get,
Yeah.
yeah.
And and singing has always been a part of my life as well. So I feel really, really privileged because I had this amazing experience where when I was about 4 years old, a teacher pulled me aside at the end of a school assembly and told me that he thought I had a lovely voice and invited me to learn a song to sing as a solo in the school play. And I
Oh,
think at that age, we just believe what we get told, don't we? So
yes.
I actually have no idea whether my voice was better or worse than anybody else's at that point. But I felt seen, I felt valued, I believed what he told me, and singing has been a big passion of mine ever since. So, kind of those early childhood experiences at home and that kind of consolidated to make music and singing a big part of my life. But interestingly, the exact opposite is actually true for so many
That's
people.
what I was going
So
about to say. Yeah,
yeah,
because we get programmed our beliefs like at that age.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so many people we work with, they can be in their 80s now, and we'll say, we'll talk about singing and they'll say, oh, I don't sing. I mime every week in church. I've not shared my voice in public since I was like 5 or 6 because I was told I wasn't good enough to be in the school choir. I was told to mime in the school choir. People will say, they sing at home and the children tell them to be quiet, or the partners do, or and it goes back kind of years in history. We've got this really weird kind of set up around singing now. So originally, way back when we lived in communities,
Yeah.
people danced, people told stories, right? And singing was part of how we passed down our history and
Stories.
heritage and
Things
culture.
right.
Exactly, it was a
Mhm.
it was a form of storytelling. It was a form of well-being practice. Um, and then as kind of religion started to become kind of organized, and it became part of something elite. So if you were part of the kind of upper classes and you were invited to kind of worship in a certain way, singing was part of that. So you sang as part of kind of higher education or higher religion. And the people in communities, it became something that they didn't do anymore. And that has developed and stayed until kind of modern day, where we have this belief that you're born being able to sing or not, and that is totally not true.
Really? So do you think
So
anyone can sing?
absolutely, absolutely. So it's judging somebody at age like 4 to 6 saying you can sing, you can't sing, is as ludicrous as saying you can do maths or you can't do maths and you can never learn. So
Yeah.
some people might have more of a natural affinity to it or an aptitude to it, but everybody else can learn to do it and everybody else can enjoy it, whatever your level of skill at it.
Mm.
And the amazing thing about that is that all the benefits we get from singing, you get whatever you you or anybody else thinks about your voice. So even if you think you're rubbish or the people think you're rubbish, you still get, if you sing and just enjoy using your voice, you get all the incredible benefits that you get from
I can
singing.
see that because even if people who say they can't sing, they're singing in the shower and they're feeling incredible in that shower. And
Absolutely. Yeah,
and it's only when they get
absolutely.
out they want to hide. I know.
Exactly. And
Wonder,
if you think about a time when you've sung with other people as well, so singing on your own
yeah,
is really powerful, singing on its own. But if you think about a time when you've sung with other people, so at a place of worship
yeah,
or at a concert or a football
oh
match
yeah,
or at Christmas, and
yeah,
you literally get that feeling of, oh,
oh
wow, this, like, we're all in this together. This feels amazing. It's because you have a physiological response when you sing.
yeah,
And one of the things that happens is we release a hormone called oxytocin, which
hmm,
is the trust or love
yeah,
hormone.
yeah,
And everybody is kind of releasing that simultaneously. So you literally get this kind of feeling of having had like a group hug, like this
uh,
sense of all being part of something that's, amazing. And that's why. So singing in itself is wonderful, but when you add in the element of singing with others, it's even
mm.
more powerful.
I can see how it would be really powerful because I've done it. How many times, even like when I went camping recently and the kids and me were singing around the campfire, it's amazing. But I can
Amazing.
see how it'd be awkward in workplaces because I can only imagine you coming into a workplace when I was working in corporate and you say, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get up and sing in a minute." Do you must have some resistance in them rooms?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we do, and I think again some of that stems back to, people's beliefs about
Yeah,
whether they can sing or not. And so that sometimes the hardest part can actually get to, be to get the booking in the first place, because the person who's booking us is worried about, the reaction that they'll get from their colleagues or team or whatever. Um, Usually, though, when somebody has experienced what we do and has experienced the powerfulness of it, they can't wait to get more.
yeah,
So a lot of the bookings that we get, it'll be because somebody's kind of experienced one of our workshops somewhere else, and they're like, right, I want to bring that into
yeah.
our workplace. And I have to say, once we announce that we're going to sing, you can instantly see, half a
Yeah.
dozen people kind of looking through the
Hiding,
escape
looking
route,
the way
or
out,
yeah, trying to get to the back.
sit back down.
And we've been doing this for a long time now. So I've been facilitating for over 30 years, and we've been running corporate workshops with singing for over 12 years. And we've got a really good kind of formula now to help people in that moment. So
Yeah,
in that moment where people start to feel a little bit insecure, a little bit worried, kind of nervous systems going into a bit of overdrive, we use breath techniques, we use a bit of humor, we use a bit
yeah,
of support mechanisms, um, to really help people kind of understand the process, know that it might step them out of their comfort zone, but in a way that feels supported and secure,
yeah,
helps them feel grounded, and helps them engage with the session. And usually it's the ones that were a little bit nervous that actually end up getting the biggest impact.
yeah. I can
Because
imagine.
for those that are kind of really confident and are really looking forward to it and are like, yeah, I sing all the time, they enjoy it and they get that wonderful experience of creating harmony with their teammates.
Mhm.
But those who are a little bit nervous and then realize that they can achieve more than they thought possible,
Mhm.
they're the ones who've experienced that growth.
Yeah.
And so for them the impact is usually kind of tenfold. And
It must
to
be
hear
incredible to witness people that are standing into the fear. It's like stepping into the unknown, right?
it is
And you do grow as soon as you do something that's scary. But I can only
absolutely.
imagine having the room because if you release all that chemicals in your brain of love, and then you're in a team, say if you don't really like the team, and you're in this team for the rest of the day, but you've had this connection, and I'm sure it must strengthen the bonds of the team.
It does, absolutely. I mean, there's a growing body of evidence now about the impact of singing and the impact of singing in the workplace. And it is shown to form stronger bonds between colleagues. And we know that that's a real issue at the moment. Since the pandemic, a lot of people work hybrid, a lot of people work from home. We've spoken to managers who've said they've seen the difference in how teams work since then. There's less empathy, there's less support for each other, there's less crossing of boundaries. So people tend to be, whereas in the past people would kind of do their own stuff and look to support others at the same time, people kind of stay in their lane a lot more, just because those relationships are not there. And we know that that affects productivity, satisfaction at work. A lot of people are really lonely and isolated. Like, it's a
Really?
huge issue. And now that a lot of us are working more from home and remotely, and not spending that time with colleagues, that's a big issue.
Mhm.
And we get such lovely comments. One of my favorites was a session we did with Nissan a few years ago, and somebody just said, I have learned something new today about colleagues that I've worked with for over 30 years. And it's like, look, they've worked together for years, and yet in that short moment of being part of an experience where everybody feels a little bit vulnerable, everybody steps out of their comfort zone, everybody grows and creates something amazing together, they connect in a different way, they learn new things about each other. It really is powerful, and it can be a real leveler as well. Because if you get people from all levels of an organization.
Yes. So having the CEO come down and work with the bottom, that would be, I can imagine
Exactly.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, your CEO in that moment is feeling as vulnerable as,
Mm.
the part-time admin person,
Yeah.
and so it's a real connector and a real leveler in
And
a different way.
what I love about this is that we have been disconnected for so long. And the power of connection is really important to the human body, for the mind, for the well-being. We need other people to feel with us. So I really love this, what you're
Yeah,
doing.
we do. I mean, one of my, favorite kind of researchers is Brené Brown, as I'm sure,
Yeah. Love.
many others.
Yeah.
And she talks about, that need for human connection being
Mhm.
kind of hardwired in our DNA.
It is.
And she also talks about the fact that in order to make real, genuine human connection, we need to experience vulnerability.
Yeah. You can't
We
be
need
authentic without being vulnerable, right?
Exactly. We've
Mhm.
got to be able to be authentic. We've got to be able to have like shared vulnerability, and we've got to be able to learn to kind of grow together and have shared experiences. And our singing experiences do all that. They help people feel vulnerable, but in a supported way. They help people connect in a different way, and they help people joint problem solve to create something more powerful than they
Mm.
imagined possible. And those things combined, you can see the transition and the power in the room.
You can see how it works. It's the kind of like music changes the state, and then the state changes the beliefs, and then the belief is going to change the identity,
Exactly
right?
that. Exactly that. And on top of all that, it's fun. you know,
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
it's
I
just
can't
enjoyable
stand the
as
meetings
well.
that are so boring. Like there is a lot of facilitated sessions with team building that are really dead. So
Painful.
yes, painful. I was trying not to do it too bad, but yeah, painful. So this is like really fun. But what
Yeah.
about, can you do it online? How's it work online? Could you do Teams online or?
We have done, and we can do. It's not as effective,
Yeah.
but it is possible.
Hmm.
So, during we'd never done anything online prior to the pandemic,
Because
and
I
we
remember seeing your speech
yeah,
actually about
yeah.
online people singing during COVID. Do you want to tell people about that?
Yeah, so we knew when we went within a few weeks of being in the pandemic that we needed to do something. So as well as doing work in workplaces, we reinvest all the profits from that in our community singing programs, which support people with long-term life-limiting health conditions
I
such as
love that part of your
dementia,
business. I love that.
Parkinson's, mental health, respiratory conditions. And a lot of those people, during the pandemic were the first to be locked down. They were some of the biggest in
Isolations.
terms of impact. Yeah, really isolated because a lot of them were quite isolated anyway.
Yeah.
Um, and for a lot of our participants, our group might be one of the only things they do in a week. So when that got removed, it had quite a significant impact.
Mhm.
And so we knew very quickly we needed to do something differently. And I'm not going to lie, I struggled like everybody else.
Yeah.
The first few weeks, I was like, my business is over. What am I going to do?
Me
How are we going to do
too.
this? Yeah. But then I was really driven by this desire to really support people.
Yeah.
And we were getting messages not only from our regular participants, but from lots of other people as well, saying, please do something to help. You know, singing's really powerful. So very quickly, we reinvented our offer, and we were back doing things online. So we used to do teaches through Facebook Lives, and then there was this fantastic app created called Acapella, where you can record videos on top of each other. So we could do a video of a 3-part harmony.
Yeah.
So you'd get like 3 of me or 3 of one of my team kind of doing the parts. So we'd teach it on Facebook Live, and then we'd post the video and people could sing along. And we did Zoom. And again, it's not brilliant because you have to mute everybody because there's a time lag.
Yeah.
But again, you can have conversations, you can teach songs, and then you can post like a video or use a loop pedal to help people kind of sing along to the part that they've just learned. But we also knew we wanted to do more, and we wanted to reach more people. So we did some co-creative work. So we asked, the first one we did, we called Our Song. We asked people all about connection, because that was what people were telling us they were missing.
Yeah.
We asked them about connection to each other, how they were still doing that, connection to nature. And we asked them about connection to themselves. Had anything, their beliefs about themselves changed in that first few months of the pandemic? And we took all that information. We work with an absolutely amazing composer. All my team are amazing, very, very experienced, very beautiful, empathetic people. We work with an amazing composer called Holly Marland. She took all that information. We spoke to people about the favourite types of music, and she put all that into the creation of a song. We then taught people the parts to that song, and people then sent us in videos, and we put it all together.
I remember this so clearly. I really remember this when I first saw you, speak, and you put it on the screen and everything, and it was so powerful. It was beautiful.
I mean, it literally still makes me cry now.
Yeah, it was so touching when I seen it. If you haven't seen it, you have to go watch. It's in your TEDx speech, is it?
It is, but it's also on our YouTube channel. So we've got that, and then after that one, we went on to do more. So we did a co-creative song around the Christmas time, when we weren't really allowed to get together, and we did one to enter into the Song for Yorkshire, which became runners up.
Oh wow, so, I didn't know that bit. Congratulations.
So yeah, we've got a few on there, and we've just recently done 3 more co-created songs where we've worked with our groups of community participants and helped them to write songs about what it's like to live with a long-term condition. And so you really hear from a first-person perspective about what it's like to live with Parkinson's disease, and also what they would ask for from friends and family, but also from the care system, where care's not maybe as good as it could be, or there are things that they'd like to be changed. So we've got 3 new songs which we'll be launching the recordings of fairly soon. One around dementia, one around Parkinson's, and one around respiratory conditions.
This is amazing, Emma. I really love this. I wanted to know really why you felt compelled to do your business for the types of people with life illness. Is there a reason behind it?
So my background originally is in youth and community work. So I have a real passion for things that form community and connection. As I said, I come from quite a big family. We're very connected. We're still all into music. I mean, our family parties at New Year,
it must be noisy at your house.
Every generation, it's lots of food and lots of singing. So building community was always something I was really passionate about. And a lot of my work for the last kind of 20 years has been in the health and wellbeing sphere. So I've done a lot of work with NHS England, developing kind of change programs and partnership programs for them, and delivering that at kind of senior level across the health and care landscape. And I was really interested in actually how I could bring all my passions together. So improving wellbeing, forming community and connection, and whether it would be possible to use singing as the methodology to do that. And so that's where the idea of Shared Harmonies came from. And I think there are lots of people who would maybe choose to join a singing group or a choir, and that's
Hmm.
great. And where I live in Hebden Bridge, there are so many choirs. So I wanted a slightly different focus. So I thought, how can we take this out to people who would get benefit, but who maybe wouldn't choose to? Maybe those people who've had their voices shut down when they were younger.
Yeah.
And so that led us really easily down that route of people that we could support around certain long-term health conditions, and people in the workplace who would get benefit, but again, who maybe wouldn't necessarily, think about singing as an option.
Yeah.
Um, and there's again, growing body of evidence that shows now the impact that singing, and particularly the way that we use singing, can have on some of the symptoms of certain long-term health conditions.
Yeah.
So, we
I
get
believe that with the vibrations and the energy and
absolutely. And
yeah.
my team are kind of trained in helping people reprogram their breathing patterns. So we get people with improved lung function reading, reduced inhaler use. We get
Wow.
reductions in GP appointments. People with Parkinson's disease, because it can affect the strength in the
Yeah, the
muscles.
vocal cords, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. So it
Mhm.
helps strengthen that, helps keep the neck muscles strengthened. Um, and so on and so on across the different kind of conditions that we work across. And with dementia, we're working with people, not doing reminiscence singing, but actually teaching people new songs,
And
and
that's
we're
really important as
finding
well train their brain to keep to grow,
exactly,
right?
exactly. And we're finding that this, cohort of people that often get told they've got no short-term memory are
Actually
learning new
learning new
songs.
things. Yeah, because the
Absolutely. And
brain
it's
can actually learn even in that. So it
exactly, and it's really, really
must
powerful.
be very interesting as well. Interesting to see the results because to see the difference that you're making, it must be
Yeah.
incredible.
Or it doesn't matter how many times I do it, whether it's walking into, a crowd of 1,000 people at a big event and getting them all singing in harmony
Yeah.
in 5 minutes and seeing the wonder on their faces,
Hmm.
or whether it's delivering leadership training through singing, because that's one of our kind of niche
Yeah.
offers, and getting comments like, that's the best leadership training I've ever done in
Mm.
my 20 years of private and public sector working, whether it's, going out and seeing people who are living with dementia, talking, sending me testimonials saying things like, it's the one time of the week we laugh with each other and we can put down
Wow.
the stresses, and my partner is actually treated like a person, and
That's
it's
yeah.
about what they can do, not
What they
being
can't.
seen for exactly.
Yeah.
And it just fills my heart. Like,
You can tell, Emma, you're just glowing as you're talking about it.
I
Like
just love it.
it's so
Yeah,
incredible. I really love that because if people like booked you for their corporate things, it's actually that you give back to the other side, a bit like what I
absolutely.
do, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you should
Yeah,
definitely book Emma to come because it's not only her that you're going to affect and your team, you're going to affect the other people as well. So it's kind of
exactly
this
that.
is what connection is and community is,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we deliver a really professional, evidence-based, service to corporates. And as you said, we've worked with the likes of NatWest, Nissan, Irwin Mitchell. We've got a lot of testimonials from companies that would, that will validate that kind
Yeah.
of impact that I spoke about. And then all the profits get reinvested
It's so
in supporting
amazing.
our
It's so
business.
incredible. And I actually know you're good because I've seen you do it. 'Cause we was at the talk where she actually done the talk and she made us all sing.
I did. It's one of my favorite things to do.
I know. Is there anything you could like show anyone now? Just like a short thing or anything you could do to teach something, any 30 seconds or anything you can, even if it's humming, like anything.
So, I mean, interestingly, one of the, so singing in creating harmony with people is really beneficial. But one of the things that is really, really powerful is the breath work that we
Yeah.
do as well. And there's evidence now to show that when we sing together, because our breathing kind of
Regulate.
coordinates, regulates with each other, our heartbeats actually synchronize as well.
Oh, I love that.
Honestly, singing is so beautiful. It does so many amazing things. So, we will often start all our sessions in communities or corporates kind of with feet flat on the floor in a really nice posture. Um,
Need to sit up better.
and yeah,
Always slouch. Okay.
and breathing in through the nose. And what's really important is when we breathe out is that we try and breathe out for longer than we breathe in. So gently breathing out through the mouth, just extending that out breath. And and I'm sure you do
I
a lot
just
of
felt,
this in
yeah, I
your
felt calmer
work as
already.
well.
Yeah, you do.
Absolutely. So it's that calming, it's that grounding. We will often start making small noises. So we'll take that out breath and we'll add sounds. So we'll do a s on the out breath and then a sh and then a f, and then we'll start to add sounds.
Okay.
So we'll then add a tone to each of those sounds. So as becomes a z,
Ah.
and then ash becomes a sh,
Oh, I
and
get it.
becomes a
Oh.
and that is exercising our kind of vocal apparatus, but at the same time it gives people an opportunity to make a sound in the space without us going straight into singing.
That is a really great idea, actually. Small
um
steps.
and then we can gently ease people
Because I remember you
into
doing this
the
at the speech,
experience.
something similar like this, and you made half the room do certain sounds, the other part do that, and then you all came together, and we were just like so surprised at the end.
Yeah.
It was like you couldn't actually hear it until it all came together.
Yeah.
It's
And
incredible.
it's that moment. So a lot of the songs that we use, we've designed or are designed to be really simple for individuals or small groups, but when you put them all together,
Yeah.
the sum of its parts, is far greater. And that's a really beautiful analogy, I think, to what happens in the workplace. Often you've got individuals and teams working on very different elements of a business. And sometimes people are like, oh, well, the business would fall over without our sales team. The sales team are the ones that go out and get all the sales. And then the engineers are like, yeah, but you wouldn't have anything to sell if it wasn't for us.
Mate. Yeah.
And people, can sometimes get into niches without seeing the fact that it takes the admin people, it takes the sales people, it takes the engineers, it takes everybody doing their bit to the best of their ability. And when you
Yeah.
put all that together in harmony, you create something really powerful. And so that's what we try and model for people through our singing
I
experience.
love that analogy, Emma. That is perfect. It explains a lot. It even
Yeah,
explains a lot in like what I do in my therapy. I do like parts therapy where I bring all the parts together. So it's actually
there you
really
go.
incredible analogy.
And being able to use that kind of singing experience to help people do that, it stops people looking at things in the way that they always have done, and it helps them to step out, experience something else, and then reflect back in. And that's a really powerful way of learning, rather than just being told you should look at it this way,
Yeah.
because it's too difficult to switch your mindset, yeah, as you
Hmm.
would as
Yeah.
you would know. So helping somebody experience something through a different lens can be a really powerful learning tool.
Mm. Perception is the main thing. It's like I've got my book out next month, and the second chapter is perception. Like
Amazing.
it doesn't depend. It's always the way you look at it.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. And if we can change our perception of something and we can change our belief around it, then we can change the outcome
Everything.
that we get. Yeah,
Yeah, everything in
it's
life, right?
really powerful.
Oh, it's been a pleasure to have you on, Emma. But before I
Oh,
go, I just wanted to check how would people get in contact with you? How to work with you?
I absolutely love connecting with people on LinkedIn.
I will
So
share the
I
links.
am Emma Baylin. And equally, we've got a website. We're on all the usual socials. If you look up Shared Harmonies CIC, always happy to have a call. If you're interested, but you think, I'm still a bit nervous, I'm not sure
Yeah.
if it's for me, drop me a line. Happy to have a call.
Good. That's perfect. So one last thing before we go, I was going to ask if you could just like leave something to prime someone's mind for like success or something. What would it be? Even if it's like something about singing or
For me, I think the thing that I keep coming back to, it is the core of what we do in all the work we do in communities and corporates. And it's something that I try and practice in my life as well. I think if you can find opportunities to step out of your comfort zone, but in an environment where it's the right environment to kind of support you to do that. So that's what we work really hard at. You know, if that environment is full of people who believe that you can do more than you're doing now, if there are people cheering you on, if there are people going through their own journey of growth at the same time as you, those are really important components that help you step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And do it without falling into stretch. You know, so if you can find opportunities to step out of your comfort zone in the right supportive environment, I just think you will be completely amazed by the level
the
of growth
difference
that you get,
yeah,
and the difference it makes. And again, going back to Brené Brown, you know, she talks about the fact if we're not growing,
what we're doing.
You know, we're going backwards, you know.
I believe that as well.
And so, you know, finding those opportunities that you can do that growth with, I think
it's so important.
Opens up so many opportunities in life.
Yeah, that's so important. And I share that because growth really is to do it, to be fearful, to do the thing, to step into it. Like even in her quote, she's like, you have to be in the arena. Like, you have to be in the arena.
And it can be really hard to do that, but there are people and places that will
help
support you to do that. And I think that's the thing that people forget sometimes. It's like, oh, if you know, it's too scary to do because I'm doing it on my own. Well, find the places that you can do it together. You know, I was terrified.
People actually want to help people, you know.
Exactly.
But we forget.
That. Yeah. I was terrified when it came to do a TEDx. I found a team of people to support me in a supportive TEDx to do it in. You know, I was terrified when I first started to put thoughts down on paper and was part of a collaborative book. But I found people to help me in the process. I did it in a collaborative, you know, collective way. You know, so it's finding the people
to help you
that help you get
actually
out.
When we first met, like, when I was at a speaking thing with you, and I had never spoken before since school, and I did that on the basis of feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It was after I read that book, and I put myself in them situations on purpose. But in that situation, I was with you, all of you guys who were actually speaking more than me. You actually really supported me. So it is about who you're surrounded by, and to step in to the growth. So that's so powerful. Thank you so much, Emma, for coming.
Thank you. It's so lovely to see you.
And you. Such a pleasure. Thank you.